I'm just having issues with my boom mic. I think I mentioned it before, but there's this like disc kind of screw thing that connects the blue shock absorber that has the microphone onto the onto my Rode boom arm, and it's really annoying because it keeps coming loose a lot. That should work a bit better now. Microphone is like wobbling all over the place. Anyway, this is GeoWill, and we're back to continue this interesting thing I decided to do, this live stream of actually making a plugin in real time. So, earlier we were doing some work on it, and things got really just kind of messed up, and I decided to take a break to kind of let my brain cool down a bit, and then to work on those things off the stream so it didn't take up so much time. So I managed to fix it. There were well, I'll say, there were a crap ton of things wrong with it. With the code. First of all, there are some things I'd overlooked, like, for example, A class here. Well, let's talk about something else entirely first. The main reason things weren't working was because of how this was functioning. So, before, if we go back to the old code here, all that rec classes was an array that contained the class ID. That's all it was. No, it wasn't an object or anything. Just the class ID, and that was it. And then we used that in conjunction with some other stuff to build the required levels, and that would object, and that would basically fill out the conditions for the class level requirements. What we tried to do here was reverse. We tried to make the rec classes array the rec levels object by saving both the values. So what was happening was we were actually throwing an object into this notation here, and it was throwing out name of undefined because, you know, how do you the interpreter doesn't know how to parse an object as like a value or something. So I couldn't find what it was looking for, and hence the undefined. So I fixed that. Then realized that I had to then take something to, because there was a class called, well, no, it was Rex. That was it. Rex was used to generate the rec levels vector by using the Rex CLS and looping through that. So since now Rex has a bunch of crap in it because we've added all these other requirements that are not classes and added in the extra note identifier, we can't use that now. So I actually went through and then decided, okay, easiest thing to do, just build another object that's like Rex, does everything that Rex did, but is not Rex. So that's what this is about. Our classes is just the LE, which is element, so that's going to be the class ID, and then the level that's stored in the TR object underneath that element. And then we use that to find the required level, and then we just use the CLS of our classes to populate the class ID. So that rebuilds the rec levels properly. The second problem was I had a bunch of crap in here that was not right because of this stuff here. So like this window stuff here. Before, you'll remember this stuff here and this stuff down here was all in the all within the draw rec items function or whatever in window class info. Since it's in here now, we have to internalize it to this. What I had done was I'd internalized the X and the Y to process requirements, and because of that there was no way for the values to pass through over to here unless I passed them through in, as a parameter. I wasn't going to do that though, because that just opens up a lot of problems because not everything uses that, and it's really a niche thing just for this particular instance. I could have done it, but it would have been pretty messy. It's already kind of messy because CLS window in some cases is null, and if you're not handling this properly in here, you get a lot of undefined errors because of that, and that was part of the other issue. So, A class, as you notice, this is new. ACLSS was not being passed through, and because of this, I never figured it out until I fixed that problem with the rect classes object. So, because it was never hitting this, and it was never hitting any of this either. So it was never hitting all these other issues that I found. But the oh, and I forgot to add in the type here for the draw rec item function calls to window information, window class information. So remember, we changed that to add in the type because now we have all these different types we need to handle. So I did that here. But yeah, so this was always coming up as null because there was no value for it. And then I attempted to use just this to call it, but then I realized that wasn't going to work because other things other than the class information, window class information, call this. And so that's why I did in this pass here. So pass it through, and so every class that needs to call this or that does call this will pass this through, and we'll be able to process this. So after all of about 45 minutes of work, debugging and whatnot, finally got it to work again the way it should, except for this. I mean, I had to figure this out. This still doesn't work. The highlighting for the list, but everything else works, as you can see. Also found a slight bug that was a bug in the way that we did the code now, because it wasn't being because the information window refresh wasn't being called enough. So before, because of some weird magic, I guess, the way it was working was that it wasn't having any issue with it. But when I moved the code around the way we did here, it made it so that this window would... So if I just unselected it, cancel out of that, and selected it again, none of this would draw because the refresh wasn't called. And so the newly selected value, or newly selected item here wasn't being updated into here. I guess somewhere in here the selected items being set to, selected class being set to 0 or something. Or it's somehow being changed, and it wasn't calling the refresh on this to refresh the contents. So I fixed that. So we do have our dance class here, dancer class, and right now all that's showing is the novice requirement because all we have right now is the classes. All the work that I've done up until this point was just to get the system working the way it was before we jacked it all up. Now we have to do some new jacking, because now we need to deal with handling all the other requirements. So we've done classes, now we need to do all of these. Gender will probably be the easiest to deal with, but at the same time, who knows? Where to start? What are we gonna need? So, we're gonna need for gender. We're gonna need the new thing I set up for the actors that stores their gender. I forget what it's called now. These might be pretty straightforward. All we need to do is we need to find out if the party has this item, and we have this item ID in here. So really all we'd have to do is just create, I don't even think we need to do an object, to be honest. We could probably just create a, we could just store it as the actual item ID inside of required items or weapons or armor. And then if those are not null, add them down here to the checks to figure out what we need and what we don't have. Which is also going to be interesting because now this is going to get much longer because now we have to handle each of these individually. That's why I have this here. All this code here that you see right now pretty much is just for classes. We have to then handle all this stuff for all the other ones. The interesting thing is going to be how to handle that and where some opportunities for, you know, what should be the... So what I'm thinking is that, well, the question is what should take precedence? So should classes take precedence or should these other ones take precedence? If classes take precedence, then can we shoehorn the other stuff into this here somewhere without having to create some new kind of structure for this? Or can we just simply say if game party dot get item or check item or whatever it is to check to see if they have that item is, you know, return 0, they don't have it, then just do true or false on the display or return true or false on the can change. It may just be that simple, it may not be. We'll have to see. For sure, it's not going to be as complicated as with classes because you got all this different stuff to check out. You got the level requirements in the coming out of a JSON object list that you have to then parse down to various levels and then compare everything against each other, and then also against something that's related to the actor. Whereas this stuff is related to specifically just the actor, and then just the party thing, the party item list, whatever they call that. So these ones are going to be relatively simple, maybe. Next question though is, okay, so what about for weapons and armor? So in these cases, you would say maybe, okay, so if they're equipped on the particular actor that you're working with, then they can change that class, or only can change that class. So these get a little more complicated. Item will be pretty much simple because you just check if it exists. Simple as that. These we have to deal with checking if they're equipped or not. I'm not trying to do that because I never actually looked into the code for that, so we'll be looking into that as well. So let's go ahead and create like a list of things we need to do here so I can keep track of stuff. Alright, actually we'll just go to TextPad. That's the easiest place to do it in. So first thing we have to do is add item restriction. I can't see because my microphone's in front of the keyboard again. Let's see. Well, now I can't see the screen. So let's go lower. And the pops filter's kind of in the way. Okay, I can kind of see a little bit better now. Restriction. Okay, so add item restriction code. Look into equip checking. Add weapon and armor checking restriction code. Then add gender restriction code. And then finally, new plugin commands. Commands or command? I guess one command for now. Well, we'll say commands, question mark. So the one that I do want to add though is whether or not, so add a plugin command that will allow plugin command and /param that will allow the user, I guess the people using the plugin are users, not specifically the users of the game, but the ones, you know, building the game. Allow the user to change the functionality of the weapon armor restriction system so that either the armor or wep will disable all other class changes, I guess, or unlock a specific class for changing without for changing. And then I guess there should also be another one then. Add a plugin command param that will allow the user, to change the functionality of the previous plugin so that either the so that when either the weapon /armor requirement overrides existing class requirements if any, or is in addition to those requirements. So basically, the first plugin would allow you to either make the weapon or armor restrictions, like as we're talking about before, either make all other classes, like in the case of like a cursed weapon, make all other classes locked off and you can only go to that one class for maybe a bunch of power or something on the weapon. Or if it just unlocks a class, is used to unlock a class to change to, but doesn't unlock anything else. So more like maybe the asterisks from Bravely Default. The second one, though, is whether or not that the requirements for those then become either that they overwrite the existing requirements. So in other words, if you have like a cursed item, for example, and you can change only to one class, does that class you can change to still need to have the other requirements? Now, in that case, it's probably not going to be used for that, because in that case, what are the chances you're going to have all the requirements to meet for that class, for example, if there are other requirements? So I would say that in that case, it would always overwrite what it's the existing items. And, of course, that would be set by using these plugin command/params. Or maybe we create a new, of course it's adding a lot more, another level of complexity, but add a new tag element to the tags that says if a armor or weapon requirement is locked or unlocked. So locked would mean that the that requirement would it be really locked or unlocked? So that really, I guess, not locked and unlocked, but it would be something similar to say like if it takes precedence or doesn't take precedence, whatever word I can find, single word description I can use that will be able to explain that, and put those there instead, and then have them dealt with in the code. I'd rather not do that if possible. Or we can say that this is part of the same plugin, so to speak, but it's two different plugin command parameters, but it's two different sections. So the first one allows you to create like just well, I mean, either I don't know how to really explain this properly. Or, well, I'm looking at this thinking of different ways it could be applied and thinking of bad ways it could be applied. I think it should be like this. There's no way to like combine the two into like part A and part B of a thing, because this does its own specific thing, this does a different specific thing. This functionality, let's see, where overrides existing requirements. So I think that's kind of inherent in this, though, isn't it? I mean, so if it's like a if it's like a cursed weapon, you should only be able to change that class when you have that weapon. And maybe that would be up to the game developer to then have the clarity to say, okay, if this is going to be a cursed weapon, I don't want any other requirements except for this weapon requirement or something. On the other hand, doing this means that every weapon or armor equipment requirement, armor or weapon tag would then make it a cursed in air quotes weapon. That would lock it to that specific class and not any other class. I don't think plugin commands are good for this. I think what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to maybe this, but not this. This is gonna have to be on a per item basis. This though, so we'll see. I'll add new code for armor and wep restrictions to handle maybe just restricted, unrestricted. Handle restricted and unrestricted attributes. So if a weapon is if a class has a restricted weapon, that means that that weapon will restrict you to only that class. If it's unrestricted, that means that it unlocks a class for you to use. And then with this plugin command / parameter, you can say, okay, if you find this item and you have it and you use an unrestricted with it, you can say, okay, this item will allow you to change to this class without meeting the requirements. Problem there is, though, let's say you change to it. Well, it won't matter, because if you change to it once, the code will allow you to change to it again, because it's in your actor class list. So that doesn't matter, because then if you lose the weapon or the item, you would not be able to change back to it. The question is, should that be the case? If you don't meet the requirements to change to that class, but you've been that class, albeit with an item, should you be able to return to that class without that item, even though you don't meet the requirements? Now, the way I have it coded is yes. The answer to that is yes. The actual question, though, is should that happen? So if we were going to make that not happen, we would have to check. No, so if we did that, then we'd have to remove that code or make that code more complicated and have it do its own check. That's no. So if you've been a class once, you can go back to the class even if you don't have the items. So that's fine. So yeah, I think, and then so this one then would kind of modify what this does in terms of the requirements. So if you again, we're talking about this again though, but I think this would only be in the case of unrestricted. Previous weapon. No, the way that I just explained it just stated that this is not relevant anymore either. So maybe no new plugin commands for that at all. Okay, so that's good. We removed the plugin command stuff entirely. So I think that's probably the best way to think of it. So an armor or weapon can either be used as no, because so even if it's unrestricted, if it's restricted, the rest of the requirements don't matter. That's just for this part. For unrestricted though, you still have to choose if the item is, and again, this is kind of like a item per item basis maybe. If the item is going to be in addition to the other requirements or in place of the requirements. So maybe we do two new attributes for the weapon tag, or the weapon requirement tag. So restricted, unrestricted, and then maybe, so you have restricted and unrestricted. We'll call this replace and replace, yeah. Repulse. I don't know. Repulse. It's false. It's fast all over again. Replace and maybe then say normal, I guess. So normal means that it's just another requirement in the list of requirements. Replace means that it's replacing the existing requirements for just this one. So let's say like for the dancer class we created that item. Well, let's say that you can normally become a dancer, but you have to have novice level 10 and some other stuff as well. But if you have that item that I made, you can become a dancer right away. So of course, that would replace everything except for the gender stuff. So let's make a note of the stuff. So notes on above attributes. So don't forget this. So restricted. This item locks all other, well, this item, this class requirements locks all other classes, even if you can change to them. or have been them. And overrides any other except gender. So if we have this, we want to make a gender specific class that's tied to a restricted weapon tag or armor tag. So yeah, it would have to, so gender would still have to be a requirement that would be handled. So unrestricted. So this class requirement becomes just a normal class requirement. So in other words, well, I think we don't even need that. We just need to say replace. Replace attribute. That is used in addition to all the other requirements. Getting a little bit kind of meta here, but that's what it has to be. If we want to make this really kind of extensible and or not so limiting in terms of what becomes restricted and unrestricted, or what replaces attributes, what doesn't, so that you can have all this stuff in the same game with using the plugin without having to have everything be the same. So you can have restricted and unrestricted weapons or armor. You can have weapons or armor that replace the attributes or don't replace the attributes, so on and so forth. Instead of having everything do everything, like everything be restricted, everything be unrestricted, or everything be replaced or not replace. Replace. This class, it's a requirement attribute. It's not a requirement specifically. Let's make sure I add this. So weapon class, weapon requirement attribute. Well, wep armor. This class wep armor. Wow. Determines if a requirement overrides all other requirements except gender for the given class, I guess. Still the same thing, so basically the same thing as what restricted does, except for unrestricted items. So you can have an unrestricted item that, unrestricted weapon or armor requirement that either can be in addition to the existing or be as a replacement to the existing minus the gender requirement for either of those. So no new plugin commands, actually, yeah. That works. Okay, so first though, we need to tackle this stuff. So, add item, okay, item restriction code. So we can just use what we used. Okay, so actually no, I do want to go up here. I was going to where I wanted to go to. I just had forgotten why for half a second. I want to find where we're actually removing the items based on the cost. Here, this one. So, or no, we want the check. We don't want to remove them. We want the check. I was going to the wrong place. Item. So, where are you? It looks like it looks like something's missing from somewhere. Oh no, it's here, that's why. It's down in here, okay. That makes more sense. Well, no, it's not here. Let me see the command window. Okay, here. This one. Yeah. I just didn't put it down there because it's not really needed. So, this is what we have. Okay. So we have this stuff, we have this. Again, we're not returning anything, we're just either setting true or false. So now we want to check and say if the rec items list is length is greater than 0. So if there's actually stuff in there that we need to check, then we want to run this code here. So now rec items, we're building it so that's basically an object. So we have the item ID, and then we have the word item ID, and that's, again, though, we could just, like I was saying, make this just the item ID. We don't need to have anything else in there, so we could just do an item rec item, so just do a push on T array item ID, and just say screw off to that temp object, at least for that one. Alright, so we have this, so we have that. Then we can just do I think we'll probably do a for for this one. ITM ID equals, or n, rec items. So then we need to do if. Alright, so here's our conditional check here. So if item ID in rec items, so this is the ID we want to check for. So if this is greater than 0, so if there's even one item, then true. So we want to grab our true false here real quick. We don't really care about this bit, or do we? So that's only if it's not, no, okay, we don't care about this bit. This is just for if it's not in this list to put it in. So that doesn't have anything to do with this. The main problem I have, though, is that what if you have too many requirements and it spills out of the window? That's my main concern with this. Depending on how many classes you have, what your tree structure looks like, how many items you're requiring, maybe a situation where less is more, in terms of like having this be showing up properly. Otherwise, we have to make these two windows. We'll probably have to do this window like this. Maybe. We'll have to do this window like this and make it selectable, and it just kind of gets messy at that point. So we'll have to go through and change so much stuff and try and handle things differently somehow. Figure out how to display things across from each other instead of straight down in a line. But it's not like it couldn't be done. It's just it would take a lot of work in restructuring, actually recoding, not restructuring, of this class, which has so much bloody complexity in it now. So let's just put this underneath here. Now we'll do an else statement, obviously, so we get the don't have it stuff here. Okay, so if okay, so again, we need to also consider the fact that we'll need to deal with the command window stuff, so that's in here too. So if they do have it, then we need to change this to item. And instead of data classes .name, this becomes data items ID.name. And required levels of value. So to be honest, we don't really need, if we have an item, we don't need a number of items. So we'll just put this as 0. And then obviously we need to deal with that stuff. And else. Actually, that goes after the else, doesn't it? Oops. Whoops. So that goes down there. We need to pull this back. Get rid of this. And then do the same thing. Actually, we just literally grab this and replace all this. Now let's go change, and it's going to be the same for all of them really. There's not going to be a value. You don't have to actually have a number of items. It's just if you have one of them in your inventory or not. Text type. Ah, okay. I don't know why I put type down for. It should be requirement. Not type. Requirement should be the name of the item. So okay. So that's just for the item, that's fine. I think that's pretty much what'll cover it for the item. Now, let's go ahead and test this code out actually first. Before we get any more complexity into this here. So we do have an item tag on dancer. Yeah, well no we don't. We did, I had one on there earlier, but I took it off. So item, and then the ID. So the item ID was dancer shoes 34. Okay. So let's see if we get anything out of that. Okay, nothing's showing up. That is fine. So, we need to do some debugging here. Okay. So, where are you? Here we go. So, item. So first I want to see what the, let's go ahead and do a check on this. And then I want to do a rec items. Just want to display it up here. Interesting. So fill required varies. Alright. Let's also do a JSON.stringify on Rex so we can see what's actually in there. So type okay. So we have a null. So type gender F class. So we have a embedding that. Actually, let's go over here. I'm wondering if that's being generated by the item code up here. Let's have a look. First time I'm using this code, so I'm not sure if it's building this correctly. So let's throw some debug statements in here. All right. So we are over here, and oh wait, no, it doesn't. Not, see, that's interesting. Okay, so if first one is item, let's add a. Let's see. So rec data 0. And we shall do that. So false. Interesting. Oh. We put it inside of the gender thing instead of outside of it. Okay. Of course, there's going to be all kinds of requirements before we get to that last one. Actually, I think it's F8. Be a lot easier on my mouse. So never once did we see item in there. So gender, class gender item 34. Gender item, record data 0. Or at least never landed inside of here. It's interesting. Item ITEM. Y. Class 110. Type item ID. A bunch of nulls. Do a conditional break. That's on exception. Can we do a conditional break? Or conditional... no. Oh yeah, we can, okay. So let's do a conditional break here. If object ID equals 44. So that'll be dancer. And we'll take these out. So it's never... that's interesting. Okay, put one there. Go to not object but group, which actually we'll need to do copy that value and seriously. Damn. Okay, there we go. All the way to the end here. Oh, okay, so we got a bunch of... Okay, it's got everything in it. What am I doing? I just gotta look at the... I've got it open over here. Or I can't, so I don't want to do that, but I'll get rid of that. I've got the... Crap, where are you? Sublime text. I've got the classes JSON open. $44. Control find notes. Oh well. How'd that get over there? Okay, requirements. Okay, it's not in the requirements. Interesting. Because I didn't save the bloody thing. You watch, it'll be there now. Damn it. Okay. Everything is better when you save it before you try and use it. That is a key lesson of this. Okay. So let's do a conditional break on here. So if rec data 0 I don't think that's condition was set correctly. So rec data 0. Okay, no, well, we know it's working now because it's showing up here. We've got it now, so. I'm not sure how those conditional breaks are supposed to work. Alright, so I actually have it showing up now. Let's see if it will show up this time. Ah, crap. This thing is too long. Okay, fine, class. Let's turn it off for the moment. I only want it on when I go to check, ah, crap. Item is there, okay. Yay, we got an issue. At least it's something different. Okay, 1534. Is it the whole... You can't find the name from the thing because it doesn't exist? 1530, yeah, this thing. Data items, item ID, dot name. So item ID. We're getting item ID from here. Okay, let's see. 1540. Let's get rid of these. And check and see what's getting populated here. Either one of those is fine. And add a ITM ID. Don't think we. Well, it might be because it's not. No, it should be a string. I think it's probably a string. If it's not, then maybe we'll have to change it to an int. But I think the item ID in the data items is a string. Don't quote me on that. I could be totally wrong. So I was wrong with that on the class list. Or it might have been related to the class list. It might have been something else. We'll see. This is another reason why I don't like loose type kind of languages like JavaScript, because it's just, you know, var can mean anything, and when it can mean anything, it can be anything and everything, and becomes a nightmare and a frigging whatever just to handle it properly. Alright, so item ID is 0. Okay, that's fine. So what about data items 0? No. So what if it's data item 0 as in a number 0, like an ID? Still null, because 0 is null, that's why. Why do we have a null? Required items is 034. Really? So it's still coming up. It's not. Why is it 0? That is so weird. This is just supposed to be an array. Why does an array have a key value pair? Now what if I said 34? Okay, 34 works as a string. So I guess we have to do this as rec items. Again, why am I doing it this way then? I could do it as a regular for loop. Of course I need to go over here because you can't save it there. Okay. Let's just see what happens. Crap. Yes, I know. To hell with you and your undefined properties and things. Alright, new. Let's go and turn these on. Yes, yes, hello. Aha, dancer shoes 0. Should not be 0 though. Actually, it is 0 because we're passing through 0, but there shouldn't be a value there. That's a mistake on the display, but it's displaying. Yay. Way too far. And way too far that way. Where are you? No, we're too far again. So after classes, information window. Here we go. Yeah, no, we don't need any of that stuff. We just need this. We'll just turn those off, period. Alright, so we have it displaying, which is good. Denser. Cool, there we go. So, now I want to fix this damn thing. So, way too far, almost not far enough, here we go. So, calling this, and then we're doing all this stuff, checking this stuff. So, player. So we're calling player can class change. This is only based on the classes. Do we also want to base it on everything else? Well, it has to be based on everything else because everything else is in there. Let's just grab this. Faster way to get there. Alright, so, we're sending through the ID of the class and the actor. Selected class. But it's supposed to be the selected class. Okay, so in this one, we're passing through the current class ID, which is... Okay, I guess that works. If we use it as a selected class, then we can throw it through everything else to see if it can work or not. So that's also from the command list. Alright, so the selected class and the actor. So we're going through all this. Selected class equals selected class. Actor, current class ID, and the actor class list. So fill rec vars, check requirements, and somehow we're always spitting out actor can change false. Okay. So let's just pop out of there real quick. What line is this on? So, starts on 1351. Okay, so I just want to throw in some stuff here. All over the place, around that everywhere. Then I want to go back to the previous one. 864. Alright. So let's clear all this crap out of here, delete them all. So first thing I want to check is this underscore actor. So okay, it does have a value. And then CLS ID. Okay, is 0, which is fine because, well, because we're not going to really handle it. Really, it shouldn't come through here, though, if it's 0. So it should be undefined. No, it's not. Oh, right, because this is a 0 index list for this. Gotcha. Or whatever, other way around, somehow. Yeah, this 0 for this is 1 for this. That's why. So that works. So we're passing through a 1 here, then, so that's what that means. If you add this here and just take up the data class wraparound in the name, it'll spit out a 1. Yeah. Okay. So we're spitting out a 1 there, saying it's selected class. Set another one here for ACLSS. Select cell class. Cur CID. I think that's all we really need. So if, let's see, if selected class equals CLS ID %, and cur CID is equal to selected class, then can change false is already this class true. Okay. So that would be fine, because that would return a false for that one. Which is what it should return if we go through this. Current CID is 0. Okay, CID is 1. Yeah, okay. Of course, now though, the problem is that we're looping through because, okay, so we're looping through even though we don't have already, okay, so, we need to put a break here on all of these, I think. If it matches. So that we just can stop this before, anytime we're setting anything. There. Oh, legal break statement. Really? So how do we break out of this? Can we break out of a for each loop? Let's go ask Google. JavaScript. Break a for each. Oh right, I think I already looked this up once because it was already looked up. I clicked on this link. So I guess I decided. So you gotta throw whatever. You can do this throw break exception. Catchy whatever. Yeah, blah. So if you use sum, return EL equals 2. For each and all. Problem is, does the MV engine actually support those or not? Well, I guess it would be Pixie or whatever it's built on top of, whatever it's running JavaScript on top of. If it's MV or Pixie or whatever. So, not this one, but the one down below. So if we say every, I would just return false on these. Let's see if that works. Oh, there's no compile errors. Or whatever errors you want to call those. I guess they're compile errors. Okay, cannot change. It's now 2. Because we don't meet any of the requirements for those, so that's all correct. We're already a novice, so we can't change to it, and don't meet any requirements for the other stuff. So let's go ahead and do this, and then come back over here. Okay, still not working now. Alright, so put these back on. Of course, the first one will go off as normal. Now the second one should be a true, so we need to check our check requirements. the only one where it changes to false at. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So if it does not equal selected class. Okay, there might be a logic issue here, actually. So if it is the selected class, which is not going to be, in that case it just goes down to nothing and it stays false because that's what it was the last time it was run. Well, no, let's see. So it should keep going until this becomes true. Then if current, yeah, so no, there's still, this should still be working properly. Alright, so, CLS ID is 1, 2, well, that is interesting. Okay, so selected class is 4, CLS ID is 1, so it's not going to match this time. How many? Oh, there's 51, so... That is strange, so it's not like looping through everything. It's hitting this one, so if ends here, and there's nothing else after that. Do we have to return to true for it to continue? It didn't say that over here. So I should go look at the developer thing for it. Every is below threshold. So it's big enough element, return. So it's greater than, so we do have to return a true or else a false. If it's true, then it continues, I guess. Let's see, every pass blah blah blah. See test whether they pass the implemented. Okay. So we're kind of bastardizing this thing for some other purpose, but still will work. True callback function turns truthy value, or is false. So maybe because we're not doing a callback, it's assuming it's false. So I think what we have to do is we have to do an else here. In order for it to continue. This is kind of interesting. It's the kind of stuff you have to deal with though when you are like, you know, changing what's already there. Probably should have written it not using that type of looping, but hey, when we do this kind of stuff, you learn about new things. So you may use them improperly at first, but you still learn about what they're for. All right. Actually, that will always correctly say none of them because we don't have any conditions met. Now we should have at least some of them. That's still not really... Actually, no, I think it is working. At least it's going through the thing like it should be. So, 2, 2... 3, 3. Yeah. I'm not even checking this stuff. Okay, so level 20, so all the initial classes should be true. So rec classes length. This is another thing. So we're looking if they're not in it right now. So that's true. So break. So A class required. So that's the requirement. What's the actual requirement though? That we're looking at right now. One, so novice. So it's already there, so we're bypassing it since we should already see it in the list. Wasn't paying attention when I should have been for the other stuff. Actually, this stuff seems to be working now, so I'm gonna go and take these out. More interested in this stuff. Interesting. It's always I1. Well, because novice is the only thing in. Well, it's rec classes. For each. Okay, rec classes going through the actor class keys, which again is only one because there's only novice in our class list right now. So it's always going to be false here. We'll just do this. I need to start from the beginning on these. Alright, so... let's get rid of all this stuff. And we're going to again do all this. Oh, first let's set up some basic stuff here. First thing I'm going to look for is... our required level and the actual level, and then the ID and the other ID, and then we'll do the actual conditional branch, conditional statements. Alright, Alright, so 0, which is actually 1. No. After class keys 0. And then... So why does after class keys have a 0 in it? Okay, it has a 0 and a 1. Okay, that makes sense. Problem is we're breaking at the end, so we're never going through the entire list. I think this is another case of a misplaced break. No, it can't go there either. It has to go... It has to go after we do this stuff. But only if it falls into the conditional stuff here. Actually, there shouldn't even be a break there. I think that was a holdover from something else. That might be why. Oops. I said I'm just going to do the recording tomorrow. So I can do it all tomorrow, then upload tomorrow as well. Alright, so actually, no, it's not going to work because we need to actually have something that we can actually change to first, so to test all this. Okay. So 10, 20, 0, 1, da 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 da. It's fine. Let's also grab and see what I1 and I2 are. Alright. So true and true. Still seeing, even though we can change, it's still not displaying correctly. Right, actually, I do want to put these back up here. 60 something. Here are these. Let's grab this. So false. So true, true. Okay, so that becomes true. So, but it's true. Oh, because we're doing based on this. This isn't returning anything anymore. Okay, gotcha. That used to return something, now it doesn't. Again, this whole, you can return something when you want to and not when you don't want to. BS kind of thing. Actually, we need to change that over here. It annoys me so much about this friggin' language as you can do that. If you try to do that in C++, the compiler will just bitch and moan at you like you wouldn't believe. But here, it's, oh, you can do that, that's fine. We just won't tell you it's broken. So when you're scratching your head and wondering why something's not working, you have to go digging through all your code and do hours of debugging and then realize, oh, okay, that's why. Alright, so there might be a way to actually make it do it, but I don't think there is. I think it can. Let's say it's not against the syntax to do it that way, but there might be a way to make it, like, tell you or something. And we're using strict, though. It should do that in strict, if you ask me. I'm looking for that friggin' here, this. That's what I'm looking for. Should be going based off of this, not what we're returning from there, because what we're returning from there is always nothing, which means it's always false, because in this language also, nothing is the same as false. Okay. I'm not going to do any looping through. I think this is... I think... Yes, the other stuff was a problem, but this was also a problem as well. New game. Gotta take those alerts out. There we go. Okay, there we go. Ha! We got it. Awesome. Alright, so now, what I want to do is also on this guy, on me, I want to also add a new change party item, or change items. I want to add a dancer shoe, increase 1, apply. I want to see if that also will apply for the list, the class list, or not. Save that and refresh. Hopefully it does, because it's built into the same logic that the other stuff uses, so it should operate the same way. So you shouldn't have to add anything new to get that to automatically work in the list, now that the other stuff is working again. Ah, get rid of those alerts. Really? It says we don't have it, even though we do. Well, that's interesting. So the check isn't working. So does that mean that this isn't working? Or let's get rid of these ones are fine now. We don't need those. We just need rid of these. Oh, we'll go to this one. Take them out. So that's this and this. Okay. So we're looping through it, obviously. It's got to be this check. This check is not working. Why? So if game party.num items, you throw in the item ID. Well, you throw in the item object, not the ID. And then greater than 0. And it's returning having less than 0, I guess. Just grab that. Just get rid of all these watch expressions. Add that in. Okay, so what is item ID? 0. Right, that was 0. We didn't actually... I noticed that before and didn't actually figure out why. Okay, so we gotta check the, where is it? This stuff. Okay. So, rec items. Length is 0. At least for the moment. Okay, so 0.30. Okay, because, yeah, right. I thought I changed that. I did change it. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. I didn't. No, yeah, I did change it. Rec items, item ID. So plus 34. And if we go to then this, oh, I need to change it in one more place and didn't change it in that place. That's why. Okay, now it'll work. I was like, what the heck? I thought I fixed this stuff. I didn't fix the condition. I fixed the print statements. Derp. Okay, sick and tired of these bloody alerts. Where are they from? Here, this one. It's command alerts. Don't need them anymore because already debugged that stuff and we know It's working, so we don't need those. Alright. Boom, there we go, dancer. Got it. Cool. Alright, so we got this stuff working now. It's awesome. So, now we spent all that time on that. What's next on our list? Alright, so this is done. So let's put like a, I don't know, done, I guess. Looking into equip checking. Right, so that's gonna be, this is interesting. Equipment checking. Equipment checking. So, let's go to objects. Game party. So equip items. So this dot weapons dot concat. Item container. Let's see, start setup starting members. Doesn't seem like there's anything here for that. Discard member equips. Members equip. So discard members equipment. So actor dot, okay, so it's an actor. Is equipped item. Ah, okay. Actor dot is equipped. That's what we want to use. So, okay. Need to pass through the actor. We're gonna have to do that anyway for gender. So I guess this gets a head start on that. So we have A class information. Do we pass to the actor up here, don't we? Only in can class change. Need to pass to the actor here as well, but we don't actually have an actor here. We're gonna have to add one to the class info window. There's no actual thing there that stores the actor. Of course, by adding the actor, we can also get rid of some of this other stuff we don't need anymore. I really need to go through and cut down some of the crap I have in this. Like, anytime I have, like, for example, if I have, like, the actor and actor classes, we don't need both of these, we just need one of them. So we can get the actor classes from the actor object. CC actor classes, here we go, this one. So, this underscore actor. So I'll need to set and a get. No, even if it is, because it could have updated information, so this done underscore actor equals actor. So now whenever we call this window up, we also have to set the actor. So scene set actor, refresh actor. Okay. It's on refresh actor. And again, we could probably, we're doing a refresh on a lot of these. We could just call that, we're doing set actor here. We could just call set actor, refresh actor to do that, all that. But for now, we're going to do it this way. That's more for when I go back through after the plugin is done and kind of clean it up a bit. Set actor. We already have the we already are setting an actor with this. Yeah, we're sending it through on the actual class constructor. Should we do that? Well, no, because by the time we actually are showing that window, it's already been initialized already, so it's just fun if we do it that way. So now what we need to do is, anytime we're calling, we're already passing it through when we're doing class change. We need to do it when we do this, though. So I need to find all the instances of this. So we're passing through this, but it also requires actor, which is part of this. Actually, okay, we don't need that. It's already part of that, so all we have to do with this is check requirements. CLS info wind dot actor. Or dot get actor, I guess we should really do it that way. Check requirements. Which also means we don't really need the A class anymore. But again, we can fix that later. Okay, so now if so now we're going to be checking, let's add some comments here. So, acquired item processing. Acquired class processing. Acquired okay, so if rec weps dot length is greater than 0, so really all we need to do is say well, no, well, we really crap. So how are we populating this? The same as what we did, well, we were doing with this. And we can still do it this way, but then we have to do the whole weirdness thing. Now we can do it with that, do it this way for all of them, really. Or at least these two. Okay. So it'll be similar to this. We'll do a var in, or a for in loop, just to make it the same as that. For var wep ID in rec weps. If what happened to my there that. So if all right, so we have the item. Is equipped item. So what is item now? So item gain item. So let's see gain item. Let's see what that brings in. Item from lose item. Or whether let's see. This params. Data weapons, this param 0. Oh, it's a command, plugin command, okay. Gain item, lost item. I think it's just a regular item. You have to pass through the item object. Consume item. Use item. It's like we're going in circles. And where the hell does this start from? So that's the original call for all that stuff, I guess. So function item. I'm guessing that's called from the actual MV internal code. So I'm gonna say that's an item object because whenever we're passing through an item in other places, it's an item object. So, like with this up here. So I'm gonna say we have to build it the exact same way. So, actor.isEquipped. It is just actor, right? Yeah. That is equipped, and then we need to do a data weapons, then rec weps wep ID. And then also the else. So throw this down here. And then grab our to be honest, we could probably just combine weapons, items, and armor into the same condition in the draw rec item function because they all just display the same. There's no other, just has the item name. So we don't really need to differentiate between those specifically. Fix that in a second. Okay, and then we can just literally copy this, I guess, for armor. Required armor. Just gonna change this around. It may or may not be just as simple. We'll see. It should be pretty similar to the item, except for the check is different. So now if we come over here, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the dancer class, and I'm gonna change this from item to weapon. I was gonna say weapon like what was that one, that blade whip thing I had made? Blade whip 57. And then armor, like a leather vest or something, whatever that is. Leather tunic, so 1. Okay. Apply. Okay. Next we will add the new change items, add rather weapons. Blade. Now this one's kind of interesting because actually since we're doing since these are restricted by class, you need to create some weapons. I'm going to create a new weapon because that, and a new armor to use with this, because otherwise it's going to be annoying because those are locked to different classes. Everything can use general items, I think. General armor. We don't have general weapons, though. Animation, types. You want to add a new type. 28. General weapons, meaning weapons that any class can use. Oops, didn't want to do that. I'm just going to add this to here, so this is equipment, general weapons. Just in case, we'll also put it there. And then on weapons, 28, we'll say, steel whip or something. Type is a general weapon. Price nothing, we won't do any of that stuff because we don't need it. And leather tunic is novice. Do I have any general armor? Pontiff's hat's general. Holy robe is, that shouldn't be general armor anyway. It's probably why everybody can wear that. So we'll say, it's a cotton cloak or something. Actually, it's O-T-T-O-N, I think. Cotton. Not cotton. Cotton. Type is general armor. Body. Though it could be an accessory, I suppose. Okay. Wait. We need to change the... So it's 15 and 37? 28. 15 and 28. Okay. Now change weapon. 28. And new 13, no, 15. Apply, okay, and make sure that those numbers are right. 15, 28, yes, okay. Alright, so next I have to, well first let's see if it's checking them. Ah, we actually have a problem. Unexpected token on line 1571. 1571, what are you, what do you have? Oh, okay, we got an extra bracket there. And down here too. Alright. Refresh. Should have noticed that before. Probably came up. Wasn't paying attention to the console window. Okay, can't do it anymore. Oh, what? Is equipped of null. What is going on? Why is actor null? So actor should not be null. Definitely not at that point. So it's got to be information window because it doesn't happen with the other one. So the only time we're doing information window is when we're clicking on it, and that's when it's happening. Well, yeah. We're double clicking on it. When we're selecting it, we're updating the actor, and somehow it's becoming null by the time it gets to the call. I think, where's the error at? 1356? Yeah. 1356. Wait, what? 1350... Oh, no, okay. Calling from there, then going to 1588. Okay, that makes more sense. It's like, that can't be right. So 1588, yeah. The is equipped of null. But we're passing through the actor. calling it. So this get actor isn't working. Window information. Get actor, this dot underscore actor, which is null when we're first creating it. Set actor, actor equals this underscore actor equals actor. Passing through actor as a function, parameter. So I'm going to say this isn't getting called at the right time. So we're calling refresh. So when we create it, we need to pass through the actor then. That's the same as with the class list window. So what's happening is we're doing that, and we're calling refresh. Well, it should happen. We're not creating it till after we select, I think. Is that it? That's the best way I can think of. Maybe that would be happening. Now we're too far up. Create, add window select actor window, selector acted, that's actor selected. On select actor selected. That makes a lot of sense. Create status actor. We're creating the requirements window then. So is it happening? Let's see. I don't know. I already forgot when it happened. I think it was after we selected dancer. Yeah. So we clicked on dancer. That's selecting of this here. This one. So recwind set actor classes to actor classes. Comwind recwind set selected class. Recwind activate show. So we're setting the actor here. Oh. Of course it was null because actor isn't a variable. Local variable, that is. Needs to be this done actor. I think I screwed that up down here too. Or no, that's fine down here because we're passing through. We're actually setting it up as this actor, so that's fine there. All right. So we were setting an actor properly. Oh crap. Well, it'll just be set as null. That shouldn't be. It's not. I can't leave it there. That's like so noobish just to leave it there. So I'm not actually ever going to use it. So I went way too far. CC. Here. No, that's not it. Class information window. Actor here. Yeah. That's. Well, no, because we have a refresh here. Okay, let's comment this out and see what kind of fresh hell it creates. And then we'll go back and do it the way I was going to do it if it causes all kinds of hell to break out. Which it might, we'll see. But it shouldn't because we're actually re-refreshing it before we're displaying it anyway, so. Well, that's no longer working, that's interesting. Actually, it should be because we haven't talked to the... It's not no longer working, it's working the way it's supposed to. Okay, there we go. It's still showing up as null. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Alright, we'll pass it through as a variable here. I hate it when that happens. Thought a sneeze was starting to come on and that just kind of died out right in the middle of building up. Scene, create list, create rec window, or whatever it's called. Create requirements window, this dot underscore actor. So recommend set actor, this dot underscore actor. So this could be called, well, no, we should always be passing an actor no matter where it's from. So I need to check the other ones to make sure we're actually passing through actor when we need to. So we're passing through actor here. I know this one works because it's worked properly before and we're using the actor to get stuff, so no, it's there. That's the only other time we're calling it, is that. It's just those 2 times we're calling it, so it should be fine. Let's go ahead and throw some breakpoints in at the top here. And actor. Alright, new game. Talk to myself. Okay. So actor is valid. Okay. So we're actually refreshing it when we select something too, right? Crap. Alright, so I want to make sure that I'm selecting it and then turning this on. So game actor defined. Okay. So what's the problem down here then? First, let's make sure we're actually getting a valid item here. Okay, so that's undefined. Which actually doesn't surprise it. Well, we're not down there yet, so. That didn't drop in weapons. Well, this is not weapons, it's armor, so that's one mistake there. Armor not available. Why not? Is it data armor or is it data armors? It is armors, wow. Who the hell wrote the names of these things? Armor is singular and plural at the same time. Well, it's both undefined. Why? Alright, so rec armor. Object. Gender? What the frack? Alright, something's really messed up here. Let's see, what's in this? Like some weird stuff? It's undefined even. Okay, so we got some issues with our stuff up here. I guess it's not really surprising. So let's put a break here, break there. Just gonna throw that because now we know why it's not working. Because we're getting weird junk in the variables in our lists here, so clicked once too many times. Okay, try this again. That was an abject failure in every possible way. Alright, one click. Turn this on. Second click. Alright, there we go. So we are in weapon. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Element is wep ID. So I could just say element here and it would show up correctly. Anyway, tr element 28. Okay, so that's right. Rec items. Oh, okay. Oh wow. How did that happen? We got some we got some code problems here. Holy crap. How did I miss all that? I'm over here. That's why. It's like, how come this file isn't this long? Why is there so much code? Oh, I went too high. There we go. This here. So, this is the problem here. Rec, weps, rec armor. Or at least part of the problem. Let's put it that way. I don't know if it's all the problem or not. Part of it. Alright, let's see if it actually works before we do any more debugging. So maybe it'll work now. Alright, length is not defined for what? 1104. That's interesting. Text plus length. So I'll draw required item text plus length. Because why? So armor and weapon, because it's wep, that's why. So actually it was working this time. And the code actually broke because of it. This is the kind of things, like if something doesn't work and you get to work, you find out all the other problems. It is sort of paradoxical. You fix something to break something, or well, fix something to find something else broken. You fix all those problems. Okay, here we go. Well, leather gloves isn't quite right. That's interesting. This is right, though. So we got half of it correct. Actually, and then, I guess I took Dancer's shoes out of there, didn't I? Or did I? Yeah, I did, okay. So, armor 15. Leather gloves. So it treated it. Okay, that's actually a weapon. Why is it a weapon? Why are we putting it into weapon for? Are we? Crap. Yeah, we didn't change that. Or we changed it in one place. We didn't change it in every place. No, we didn't change it in any place. Okay. Data armors. Right, I checked it. It was in the watch list. I did that. Okay, well it's working now. It'll work this time properly. So this is working. Let's go ahead and reload it and then grab the items and see if it'll actually show stuff up. So it's printing out correctly. It's just I wasn't using the right data element from the right list. Alright, so if we go over here. Okay, still not. Okay, then we got the cotton cloak in there now. So the check isn't working because they're not equipped. Actually, the check is working. Alright, so now if we equip them, I'm just going to equip one thing here. Steel whip. Start with that, and we'll see if both checks are working individually. Okay, cool. We got it. So then we'll check the other one, and then by extension see if it'll list it as being usable. I think it's body. No, why isn't it there? Novice general equipment. General equipment is, or general armor is there. What did I, maybe I didn't set the type. I probably didn't set the type. No, it's general armor. Come on. Killing me here. Type is body, apply, okay. Save it. maybe I didn't do that. I've been known to not save and think it should magically appear as being saved. Okay, so equip. No, it's still not showing up. That is rather interesting. So we're getting in the cotton cloak, which is right. Let's change armors, obviously. Equip armor, general armor. The armor is of a general armor type for body. Item 15. So what the frig is the problem here? Oh. Wait, what? Oh. Okay, that's the problem. The problem is I'm a moron. I did not add general armor 2 there because I thought it already existed. It doesn't. I got too much stuff. I need to rearrange these so that the proper order. Okay, you can drag and drop. I did not know that. Okay, that was the problem. Lost all the breakpoints, but we don't need them now. We know everything is working so far. I'm pretty sure this is going to work. I'm almost 99% sure that this is going to work properly when we equip both. Now that I can actually see the thing to equip and can equip it. Yeah, there we go. And yes, we can do so. Cool. Now we can change the class. Awesome. Alright, so all that is done now. So, done. So, now we need to do gender restriction. This will probably be the last thing that I'll work on tonight because there's still a lot of stuff to do and it's getting kind of late. So, gender restriction should be pretty simple. We already are populating this. We just need to do the same thing, but we need to check this against the current actor's gender. So the way we can do this is probably going to be pretty simple. So since we already have that here, required gender check. So if rec gender dot length, it'll never be longer than 1, but we'll do this anyway. Then for var gen ID in rec gender. So now if alright, so now what is the name of that thing we created up here for this? Actor something. Actor genders, okay. So actor genders, we're populating it using this code up here somewhere. Load actor tags. So we're throwing in the act group, so which is the data actors. Doing the same thing we did with the other one, looking for the start and end tags and the requirement tag in them. We're splitting on the gender data. So then gen data 0 and then gen data 1. So the tag name, which is gender, and then the actual gender. And then we're throwing that into actor genders with the object ID, which is the actor ID, and then the temp gender object. So what we need to do is say if actor dot ID 1. So then rec gender So we need to do another check here first, though. So if actor genders actor dot ID is not equal undefined or null. So in other words, if it's not null or it's not undefined, and though, so that'll handle any kind of weirdness from the null entry, and also if the actor that we're currently looking at actually doesn't have a gender tag set in it. So if it's true, so if this is true, this and this are true in that they are not false or undefined, and then this is also true, then when to display true. Else we want to do this. And then also this stuff here. Okay. So I think that might be all we have to do. So I think Felto has no gender tag, so we'll test out that whole theory of that working or not. Dorothy does have a tag in there for F. And the class has a requirement tag for F as well. Okay. So let's see if this works or not. It'll be awesome if it works on the first try. It's not going to, but it'd be awesome if it would. Alright, so cannot read property 1 of undefined. That's very interesting. Something new. So where's the error from? Class changer 1612. Aha, it's in the new code. Why am I not surprised it's there? So, cannot read property 1 of undefined. Which would be the gender? Actor genders or what? What, so 108. Where is the... I think this is in the way. Yeah. Yeah, this one. So, actor genders. Or no, that's the tag, isn't it? Okay, well, let's see how it's being built. Maybe it's not being built that way. The way that I think it is. So, actor tags. Okay, that would be the problem. We got tons and tons and tons of nulls. Okay, so why would we be getting tons of nulls? Because of the same issue we had up above, we are doing this instead of putting it on the default. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, it can change it, but it doesn't change it in the file. That's interesting, they can actually change it in during runtime and have it for that particular runtime instance. Alright. Okay, so we have a null with a bunch of blanks, and then we have one that's gender F. We need to have an ID though. Or no, we do have an ID. No, we don't. Yes, let's see. So actor genders, object ID. Gender F. So yeah, there's no object ID. Are we still in that reference? Yeah, we are, okay. So there's our object. Class ID. ID is 10. So yeah, object ID there's a value there for ID. Why is it not showing up here? Because it's not... blah. Because it's not an array notation, but it works down here though, that's weird. Should work down here. So actor genders. Yeah, that works. We'll need to stringify it to see what the actual value is, but it's a null. Yeah, null, 10. So that's not really right. Okay. Push requirements. JSON. ClassWorks JSON. ClassWorks JSON. It's set up the same way. Whoops. Well, didn't want to do that, but. Bollocks. Okay, don't know why it works on the one above it, but let's change it to this. Okay, now we have the proper stuff. Okay, I have no clue why it works up there and not down here. I've seen so much of that stuff. And you should only be able to do this notation in an object notation. An object with curly braces is an object notation. But I can do that key value pair in an array notation with this one for some reason. Unless I'm redefining it somewhere as something else, which is possible. But I don't think it is being redefined anywhere. If it was, it probably would throw an error. unless I'm redefining it without actually redeclaring it. But I don't see it anywhere. Anyway, let's go check to see if it's working now, or at least if it's not. See if it's not throwing a hissy fit. Now I've still got this cannot read property one of undefined BS going on. Okay, so what's down here? Let's just throw our break there. Reload. We'll do some work on the debugging it in the watch window here. Get rid of the stupid thing. There we go. And this one too. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, actor gender. So now, it's failing on this first one here, so actor.id. So let's see what that is first. Actor.id. Should be... Seriously? I'm gonna throw that at me. Oh, come on, stop. Actor ID, actor underscore ID. Do we have a... Okay, let me go check the game actor. Probably should have done this in the first place. Game actor dot prototype dot... Oh, okay, it's just actor ID. It's a function. Didn't throw a whole fissy fit on these ones, so it's weird. Only when I got to here. Probably because it's not an issue unless we're doing a thing, a null thing of something. Which again is all points to how error-prone JavaScript is. And there's no real checking to deal with it. Okay, get rid of that. Delete that, delete this. Now we're going to add in the check actor genders. Actor.actor ID. Okay, well, we're getting an object now. So let me grab this. Undefined. Okay, so let's stringify this. Let's see what's in there. So it's a null. Why is it a null? It shouldn't be a null. Because this is throwing back an int, and we actually want a string, I think. Probably. Nope, still null. Well, actually, it's fine. That's actually right, because we're talking about Felta here, who has nothing. It's actually just an empty item here. But then it should be failing on because actor ID is null. Or is an empty object different from null? And we need another check. JavaScript check for empty objects. I missed the T, but whatever. So it's empty object. That's jQuery. 2300 ups, wow. 5 plus, I don't even know. Because object.keys new date.length equals 0, we have to do some additional check. Well, that's only on a date. We don't need that. So this would be enough. Well, it didn't crash this time. Or did it? Nope, didn't crash. We got an object though. That's interesting. So we got something here that's good. It didn't crash, which is better, but this isn't displaying correctly. And we also don't really have any value for this. Okay, so this is actually what's getting passed here. Okay, so... Oops, let me put this back on. So, rec gender, what's in that? Gender and F. So... Really? Because we're not saving the ID from up here, that's why. Okay, so that's what I was wondering about. Temp, objects. Now we gotta do it over here. Okay. So I didn't change it to this because I thought I would have to have some extra stuff in there. So temp objects. ID equals element, I guess, because that's going to be the key. ID gender. Okay, that didn't work like it was supposed to. So, case gender. So tr type gender. Element gender. Because we are going through Rex length. This, oh, okay, this is the Rex. This isn't the... Interesting. We're looking at the wrong thing, I guess. We don't need to know the ID. We just need to know the gender. So I think this is right. Just want to know if the gender is the same. This gen ID 0. So we just need to. We don't need to. I just whatever we had it, we do. We do need that. But we do need to instead of this. It's not gen ID. It's gender. It's kind of stupid, but. Watch out that thing up there. It tells you if it's paused or not. All the time. It's only like on the first one or something. The beginning. It tells you. It's really strange. Alright, let's have a look-see. Well, let's see. That's not right. Because it doesn't have a gender thing assigned, so it shouldn't show it. So connect property length of undefined because why? Because there's nothing assigned to it? It shouldn't be null. It should be 0. 1104. Really? Draw rec item. So the type is gender. Text is... okay, so we're passing something through, but we're not passing through what it's expecting, or passing through nothing. So we're not having anything set here. Could fix that by just making this instead of a null, just assigning it an empty value. But why is it not passing through? Well, 1104, which one is that? That's the... Oh, it doesn't say what it is. It's probably... I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be fail, though. Because if it's not there, then it shouldn't be... But it was showing us that it could change, which is not right. There's maybe why. Yeah, it's set to the wrong one. Should be not 0. Not if it is 0. That's the fastest way to get it into here incorrectly. Alright, let's try this again. Well, still, it was passing something through that wasn't... I saw that... Oh, it's there. We'll need to re-enable it here. We can see what's in there, actually. Shouldn't just be like a single character. I'm not sure why I would be throwing an error for that. Okay, and we got that, so undefined. So what if we said 0? Well, it's always going to be 0. Let me just put it that way. Because there's only ever going to be one gender assigned here, hopefully. Let's put that. We're only going to expect one because it's either male or female. So we shouldn't have to handle more than one element. Alright, that should fix it now. Still showing that I can change to it because the other check isn't working, I guess. Oh, we'll see. Maybe this will show and we'll have to figure out why. Oh, okay, good. There it is. Instead of saying F or M, let's actually make it spell it out. Could be better that way. Where are you? Nope, higher. Yeah, here we go. Gender, so... This will not be a... Well, it'll be a dual line, but we'll have 2 one-liners in here. So F, rec, name, equals, 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 F. Then text equals... else. So let's see if Dorothy can change to it. So that didn't quite work either. So let's find out why. So gender F. That's fine. What's the actor gender? Sense, I guess we have to do that with the other one. We have to do that with this one too. So instead of being 1, it should be gender. Okay, let's see what happens. Hey, there we go. Alright, so at least those two are... Okay, let's now change this... change our equipment. The good thing about Optimize is that if we only have those, then it makes it a little bit faster. So, before it said we can change, that was weird though. This was lit up even though we didn't have the ability to, because gender was the last thing we checked. So, we need to change the order in which we are checking this. Armor and weapon should be last. Alright, let's redo this, and I'll show what I mean. So we're going through and the list and checking things. So we didn't have at the time we first checked it, we didn't have this stuff equipped, but the gender check was positive, was true. So what happened was that this got changed to true, even though it should have been false for these, and that's because we didn't have this in the right order. So the gender check should always come before these, or logically, I suppose. So you have the class, which is your... Well, to be honest, though, actually... Item processing, what should be first? So class... So the class can be true, but if the gender is not true. So item processing can be true. So I think the gender check should actually go after class. Because again, if the gender is true but this isn't true, then it could be false. So it should go this, then these two. Order of checking is also important. Didn't have to worry about it before because we're only checking one thing, but now we're checking multiple things. So you have to consider priority of what we're checking. Alright, so now let's grab everybody. If we go over here now, check Dorothy's, she should no longer be able to change to it. Yeah. So she meets these two, but doesn't meet the last two requirements. So now if we equip her with her stuff, and it showed that she wasn't able to change to it either. So optimize, check again, it should now show that we can change to it. And this should be true, and boom. Okay, good. Awesome. So that is all working, which is awesome. I'm not going to check for the obviously probably present bugs and things we created in the optional systems I'm pretty sure there's probably some bugs with those now. I'm not going to check those now because it's 12:20 and pretty late. This is where we want it to be at for now. Go ahead and add this as being done. And all we have now is these unrestricted things, the new attribute tags for weapons and armor, which will require some more code for that. But we're almost done. Once we have this done and we're checking it done, we go through and check everything to make sure it's working, then this plugin will be done in the sense that it's complete, and I'll just need to go through and fix all the crap code up and pare things down that can be where they can be, and try and see if there's any refactoring that can be done so that we can release this thing properly. That'll be my first completed plugin for MV that's been converted from something from RPG Maker XP. Exciting times. But thanks for checking out the stream if you watched it live. If you're watching it on YouTube afterwards, thanks for watching it. Comments, questions, and leave them below. And if you haven't done so already, appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time where we will go through and add those new things in. And I'll probably have checked the optional stuff by then. So I'll report back any problems that I found with that. There probably will be some. I'm expecting there to be some. If there aren't, I'll be surprised. But not sure when that'll be. Probably sometime maybe towards the end of next week. We'll have to see. But until then, this is GeoWill, and I will see you later.